Welcome to the Climate Champions. I'm Lee Krevat, and I'm here with Talieh Zargar, Chief Technology Officer for GridWrap. Talieh, welcome to the Climate Champions.
Thank you, Lee, for having me here. It's so exciting to be here. It's just the energy, the enthusiasm in DistribuTech, and I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Yeah, I should mention, this is coming to you live from DistribuTech.
Yeah, look at it around us, all the people. It's my first time in DistribuTech, but I'm getting amazed with everything here.
I think it's my 30th time.
Wow!
Yeah,
So
yes.
I'm looking forward to come 30 times. That's amazing.
What was your motivating moment where you decided, I want to do something to help the climate?
It was not a nice event, but I remember it very fresh in my mind. We were driving in Highway 101. We live in San Diego, me and my family. We were driving towards Los Angeles, and there was this blaze of fires next to us in the highway. So I was thinking, like, we're living in a state full of entrepreneurs, innovators, very smart people. There should be some solution or something we can do about all of these wildfires around us. And all of the people that are like living next to highways, and they're getting affected by all of this. So the next day I go to work and I see one of my friends, her mother-in-law got affected. The house was burned, all of the memories, So that was the moment I thought, I need to get involved in this. I need to do something about it. The thinking started, and then I think the business of GridWrap started at that moment for me.
GridWrap is a startup, so it takes a lot of work, I know,
Yes.
on your part and your husband's part. What motivates you today? What drives you?
Every day, whenever I talk about our product, and when I start talking with the customers and hear their pain or hear their problems, anytime that I talk about our idea and bring it up, I believe in it more and more, and it just brings me home again. That this is what the grid as the backbone of the electrification needs. We need to increase the resiliency of our grid. We need to do something about the resiliency, all of the problems that our grid infrastructure is facing. So that motivates me every day, talking with the customers, hearing their problems, hearing the issues, seeing in the news or everywhere that we go, people talking about wildfires, climate problems, power outages they're facing whenever there is tornado or some storm happening. This is a big motivation for us to keep going and don't get demotivated or with all the problems that a startup can face.
What do you do specifically to help mitigate climate change, and what does GridWrap do?
GridWrap is a startup that our vision is building a more resilient future by unleashing the potential of existing grid infrastructure. And what do? We have a composite solution that is used to increase the resiliency and load capacity of grid infrastructure. We're specifically focusing right now on utility poles. And I have a sample for you. I can show you this. So this is our composite solution.
Right now, Talieh is showing me a Coke can that has one layer of their composite material wrapped around it.
Yes, this Coke can is basically representing a utility pole. So whenever utility poles are facing resiliency issues, our grid infrastructure is facing many problems. Frequency and intensity of extreme weather condition, it's getting aged, and so getting close to the end of its lifespan. And also the renewable energy, so we need to push more powers through the grid. So we need to increase the resiliency of grid infrastructure. So what we do is, current solution, what it is just replacing the poles, undergrounding them, taking away and replacing with steel pole. What GridWrap solution is, just use the existing utility poles, just use the existing grid infrastructures and upgrade it to the new, I like to call it Grid 2.0, using our composite solution. So this is representing the utility poles, and this composite material around the can is the solution that we are proposing.
Recently, I showed somebody the can, and I was talking about how excited I was, and I stood on the can,
Yeah.
That held my weight completely. I think it could hold an elephant, just a Coke can. but the person thought I was talking about making sure that the Coke can would not get dented.
Yes,
And he
it's
said
just
in
a
my
sample.
country, he was Dutch, he said in my country, we recycle them, so we don't worry if they get dents in them.
Yeah, we recycle Coke cans too. This is just an example. So this Coke can is representing a utility pole. So I cannot carry a utility pole. You know, they're big. So.
As Chief Technology Officer, what do you do at GridWrap?
I have a PhD in mechanical engineering, and during my PhD and my master's, I worked in composite material and solutions. So the idea of working with composites is coming from my studies in my grad school. So I kept working on it, and after I graduated, I still worked on the composite solutions for different industries. So and now I am working at GridWrap using composite solutions. I do a lot of designs for all of the customers. We need to have specific designs, and that is like what you said, motivates us. One of the problems that we're right now, our grid infrastructure is facing, and we didn't know about it, are woodpeckers. Believe it or not, woodpeckers eat the utility poles. They build nests, as they're cute, but they can also be problems. They build a nest and make a hole in the utility poles, and one of the problems is if they build a hole, they need to replace the pole because the pole cannot withstand the load that it is designed for. Our solution is just wrap the part that the bird made a nest, and you don't need to replace the pole. So we are working with PG&E on this, and we qualified our material with PG&E because they're facing a lot of problems with woodpeckers. So one of the things I do is designing how many layers of our material you need, what orientation, what configuration. We also have an engineering design platform that I'm working on right now. We're going to give this to our customers, and they can also make the designs. Yeah, I do a lot of design, a lot of engineering, spend a lot of time in the labs, looking at the results, breaking a lot of poles. I don't know if you've been to our STSU lab. We have these big utility poles that PG&E or other utilities send us. We wrap them and break them under loads.
Well, you break them and then wrap them.
Yeah, we break them, wrap them, and then break them again, and we can increase the load capacity.
Like 15,000, 16,000 pounds.
Yes, so we got a utility pole without the wrap. It went up to 4,000. We broke it, and the broken pole, we wrapped it. It went up to 16,000 poles. 300% increase.
Yes,
of
yes,
the,
yes,
yeah.
yes. Just so people don't think it only helps with the woodpecker problem, you have utilities that are wrapping it underground where corrosion can start.
Yes.
You have people wrapping it where a car hits it to basically re-stand up an existing pole, right?
Yes, exactly. So we are working with some utilities. I'm going to name some of them. So some utilities in Florida, they have a lot of problems with moisture. Moisture get into the poles and rot the poles in the ground. And now they need to replace it. Even like these poles are supposed to stay for 30 years. After 10 years, they need to replace it because the moisture is in it. And it ruins the base of the pole that is the highest moment capacity. So what we do is we wrap the pole on the area that is affected by the moisture, and it is brand new. So you have a brand new composite pole that it can withstand another 30 years, and we don't need to change it anymore. So it's exciting. And we're working with IID, a utility that they are also having car accident problems. A car hit the pole. It breaks the pole, they need to come and replace it, and they sometimes don't even know that it happens. They have to wait for someone to report the accident, and then they come and replace the pole. Our product can wrap around the broken pole that is, the car crashed it, and it's brand new, basically. It can withstand another 30 years. So, yeah, so we have a lot of other use cases.
You mentioned that you studied material engineering?
Mechanical engineering.
Mechanical engineering in college, but you did some material science as well.
Yeah, my co-founder is a material scientist. So he does a lot of what is the best combination of materials? I do a lot of engineering on what is the strengths, what is the compression strengths, what is the tensile strengths, what's the moment capacity. I do a lot of the engineering part of it.
That is great teamwork.
Yes, it is.
Can you talk more about your background, how you got to where you are?
I did a master's in mechanical engineering. I worked in composite solutions. I mostly worked on composite solutions at that time for oil and gas industries. and then I did my PhD and also worked similar topics, but mostly on different industries. I started working on consulting companies, giving consulting, like be a consultant in this area. And then after we started GridWrap, me and my co-founder, now I am doing composite solutions for utility poles and grid industry.
I know that you're focusing on the pole wrap, but you have another solution that you're also investigating, correct?
Yes, and that is actually my dream. I'm very excited about that solution. I think that's going to be game changer in the whole industry. So what we do is we wrap the composite material around the cables, and it can increase the power capacity of the cables. We can push more power by reducing the thermal sag, because one of the limitations of the cables and why we cannot push powers through the cables is that it gets warm, it gets the thermal sag, they get close to the ground, and then because of these, we cannot push more power. Our composite solutions that we can wrap around the cables, it will decrease the thermal sag by 70%, and now you can push more power through the cables, so you can increase the power capacity. So all of this renewable energy that is, we are having limitations of how to transfer, this is going to help a lot with that.
Can you talk about some of the challenges and setbacks that you've had?
Yes, challenges, a lot of challenges. You know, being a startup, you face like, I was telling my co-founder, there's one day that I feel like we're going to be $1 billion company, and the next day we cannot pay the bills. So it's just a roller coaster ride. So the main challenge is utilities as our main customers. As you know, they are having a very long sale process. It's making us have to go through this with them and be patient. And, you know, startups want to be quick and agile, but on the other side, our customers are slow and they want to be very, very thorough. So that is the main challenge that we're facing. But I think it's a very good time for us. Everybody's mind is on grid infrastructures and increasing our grid capacity. We talked about storms and tornadoes and wildfires. So I think we are in a good time, I hope.
I know you think it's taking a long time working with the utilities, and I worked at San Diego Gas and Electric for over 15 years. There's good reason for it to go slow, because if you make a mistake, it can cost lives.
That's
true. It can cost entire neighborhoods can burn down based on a mistake. So it's very important when you adopt new technologies to really make sure they are great and they will really help. And you really haven't been at it nearly as long as a lot of companies. I know companies that have been working for over a decade working with utility. You just said that you're qualified by PG&E. That's in under 2 years of your existence. So I think you're going very fast.
Yes, maybe my expectations are too high. You know, being a startup, you want this to be very quickly. But yeah, we need to be patient. And something that I learned through this process is that we also need to tailor our product to the needs of our customers, which is very important. Hearing them, understanding what they want, understanding their needs, and tailoring our product and our solution to their needs and to their. So we're learning this through the process of selling them.
Like the woodpecker problem. You didn't even know that was a problem, and it's probably going to be your first big customer. It'll be woodpeckers.
Yeah, that's true. We didn't know this problem exists until we talked with the customer.
We both talked about PG&E qualifying the product. What are other successes that you've had that you're proud of?
We just not sell in US. We have a global footprint. We have the 20 pilots in 2024. So I'm really very proud of this. As we talked about speed, I talk with other startups and they say 20 pilots in a year. It's like amazing.
You only started in 2023, right?
Yes, so we launched our product in November 2023 was our launch of our product. So that's really great. We worked with Enel in Italy. That was our first pilot. We talked about wooden poles, but this product we also can use in concrete poles, and that's what we did in Italy because a lot of European utility poles are concrete. We worked with Elia Group in Belgium and Enel in Italy, and We did two pilots with them for concrete poles. We are working with national labs in Idaho National Labs for some of our testings, which is really good. They are smart people. They have really great ideas also. But this is really great to get some testing there and bring utilities to look at our product there. So EPRI was another success story for us. We worked with EPRI through Incubate Energy Labs. So we did the pilot through EPRI program. Many successes. These are the things that came to my mind, but I'm very excited for 2025. I think we're going to scale up in 2025, at least with one or two utilities. So.
Well, I'm very excited for you. I think you will also. When you look at the world 20, 30 years from now with regards to climate change, what do you think is going to happen?
People now know that they need to work and do something about it. They need to build a more resilient grid infrastructure. We need to increase the resiliency of our power grids. And there are many great ideas. Our solution is one of the solutions. There are many great solutions. And I'm very hopeful that we will be a more resilient country and we will have a more resilient power grids. I'm very hopeful.
I'm also very hopeful. One thing that concerns me is it's getting worse very fast.
Yes.
At the same time, we're developing solutions very fast. But I don't know which will win, I guess.
Yeah, I think we have a lot of very good solutions. And at least in the couple of years, the Department of Energy is also putting a lot of money and effort into this. Because, investors might not be interested in investing in companies that are climate change because we talked about long sales process, utilities being so it's not very easy to do a sales. So we need some Department of Energy and some other help from the government. And I think it is happening. It has been happening. Hopefully it keeps going.
Do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, so you've been here 30 years in Distributech. What should I do? What's your suggestions?
So for me, most of my time is spent at the expo. I love talking to all the different companies and understanding what's out there now. But I do go to some of the panels because some are very interesting and I really want to learn from them. So I do try to get to see a few. I don't want to spend all my time at the expos. I also chair a couple of panels, so I'm going to be at those, especially in the EV track. I really love learning about electric vehicles, but there's really something for everybody. So if you can look for panels that you really want to go to, and then walk around the expo and see what other great technologies are out here, I think you'll find synergies with what you do.
Okay, good. I'll try that. Thank you it's the first day, but I'm so excited. I'll come to your panels.
Is there anything else you want to add?
I want to encourage everybody to not be afraid of working in climate tech. I know utilities can be hard to get into, but don't lose hope. Don't be patient. As I said, listen to the customers and tailor your products, your solutions to the customer's need. That can be really game-changing for you. Work hard, and I'm hoping that we will have a more resilient grid and a more resilient power transformation soon.
Hopefully we'll be opening some champagne, you and I, in the near future.
Yes, we definitely will do that. I'm 100% sure.
And on that very positive note, I'm going to wrap this up, and I'm going to wrap it up with a wrap. You and your co-founder, you make a great team wrapping cables and wires. That's your dream. Utilities have a lot of poles that they need to replace. That's a budget gap, but they can make them even stronger by using GridWrap. When your utility poles get really old, don't replace them. Get yourself a new composite pole. You realize that it was your turn when somebody you worked with had their mother-in-law's house burn. You learned a lot when you went to college, and then you applied your brilliance to make a grid that has resilience. In talking to you, I feel like you are a star. You really are trying to climb a very high bar. Is there a way you can use that material to protect my car? You've come a long way. You've come really far. Thank you so much, Talieh Zargar.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, we will use this in our website. We'll put it there.
Thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for the opportunity. That was great. Thank you for everything.
Thank you.